They are two of the most frequently encountered venomous snakes in North America. Both are pit vipers. Both are found across large areas of the eastern and southern United States. Both are responsible for a considerable number of snakebite incidents every year, and both are routinely misidentified, not just by the general public, but occasionally even by experienced outdoor enthusiasts who have spent decades in the field. The copperhead, the cottonmouth, two snakes that share enough superficial similarities to cause genuine confusion, yet are separated by differences in appearance, habitat, behavior, venom, and danger to humans that are profound enough to matter enormously in a real encounter. Today, WildForge explores every dimension that separates these two pit vipers: their evolutionary origins, their physical differences, their dramatically different habitat preferences, the nature of their venom, their behavior when encountered, and the practical question that matters most to anyone spending time in snake country: how do you tell them apart, and which one poses the greater risk? Both the copperhead and the cottonmouth belong to the family Viperidae, the vipers, and specifically to the subfamily Crotalini, commonly known as the pit vipers. This places them in the same broader group as rattlesnakes, bushmasters, and ferdilances, the New World pit vipers that have radiated across the Americas over millions of years of independent evolution. The copperhead, Achistrodon contortrix, belongs to the genus Achistrodon, a small but significant genus that also includes the cottonmouth and the cantil of Mexico. There are currently 5 recognized subspecies of copperhead distributed across different regions of the eastern United States, though the validity of some of these subspecies is debated among herpetologists. The copperhead is widely distributed across the eastern half of the United States, from southern New England in the north through the Appalachian Mountains, the Midwest, and the Southeast, extending into parts of Texas and Kansas in the west. The cottonmouth, Achistrodon piscivorus, belongs to the same genus Achistrodon, making it the closest living relative of the copperhead. This close relationship is important to understand because it explains why the two species can be so easily confused. They share many ancestral characteristics, including the broad triangular head, the vertical elliptical pupils, and the heat-sensing facial pit organs that define all pit vipers. There are 3 recognized subspecies of cottonmouth: the eastern cottonmouth, the Florida cottonmouth, and the western cottonmouth. The cottonmouth's range is more restricted than the copperheads, being confined primarily to the southeastern United States, from southeastern Virginia south through Florida and west into eastern Texas and Oklahoma, with the species showing a strong and consistent association with aquatic habitats throughout its range. The pit organs from which the Crotalinae subfamily takes its common name deserve particular attention. These heat-sensing organs, located in small depressions on either side of the head between the eye and the nostril, are among the most sophisticated sensory structures in the vertebrate world. They detect infrared radiation from warm-blooded prey with extraordinary precision, allowing pit vipers to locate, track, and strike warm-blooded animals in complete darkness with accuracy that rivals infrared targeting systems developed by human engineers. This is the section that matters most for anyone who encounters one of these snakes in the field, because the ability to quickly and accurately distinguish a copperhead from a cottonmouth or from a non-venomous snake that resembles either could have significant practical consequences. The copperhead is a medium-sized pit viper. Adults typically measure between 60 and 90 centimeters in total length, with exceptional individuals occasionally reaching or slightly exceeding 120 centimeters. The body is moderately stout, neither as slender as many non-venomous species, nor as massively built as large rattlesnakes. The copperhead's most distinctive and reliably identifiable feature is its color pattern, a base color of light brown, tan, or pinkish gray, overlaid with a series of distinctive hourglass-shaped crossbands in a richer, darker coppery brown color. These hourglass bands are wider at the sides and narrower at the center of the back, the reverse of many other banded snakes, and this characteristic shape is one of the most reliable field identification features available. The head is broad and distinctly triangular, clearly wider than the neck, a feature shared with all pit vipers. The scales are keeled, meaning each scale has a central ridge, giving the body a rough, dull texture rather than a smooth, shiny appearance. The head itself is often strikingly copper-colored, particularly in young adults, which contributes to the common name. The cottonmouth is a more robustly built snake than the copperhead. Adults typically measure between 60 and 100 centimeters, with large adults regularly reaching 120 centimeters and exceptional individuals exceeding 150 centimeters, making large cottonmouths noticeably heavier and more massive than large copperheads of similar length. The cottonmouth's color pattern is considerably more variable and less distinctly patterned than the copperheads, and this variability is one reason for confusion between the species. Young cottonmouths have a pattern of dark brown crossbands on a lighter background that bears some resemblance to the copperhead's hourglass pattern, though the cottonmouth's bands are less distinctly hourglass-shaped and more variable. As cottonmouths age, they typically darken dramatically. Adult cottonmouths are often uniformly dark brown, olive, or almost entirely black, with the banding pattern becoming invisible or nearly so. This means that the same species can look very different at different life stages. The single most reliable field identification feature that separates the cottonmouth from the copperhead and from every other snake in its range is the behavior from which it takes its common name. When threatened, a cottonmouth will frequently open its mouth in a gaping defensive display, revealing the brilliant white interior of the mouth, the cotton white lining that gives the species its name, also called a water moccasin in some regions. This threat display is characteristic of the cottonmouth, and no other common North American snake performs it in the same way. A copperhead does not perform this distinctive open mouth display. Other reliable distinguishing features include the cottonmouth's notably thicker, more robust body relative to its length, its broader and more massive head, and the distinctive pale yellow tail tip found on juveniles of both species but retained longer in young cottonmouths. The habitat preferences of the copperhead and the cottonmouth diverge significantly, and this ecological separation is one of the most practically useful pieces of information for anyone trying to identify which species they may be encountering. The copperhead is the most habitat flexible of the two species. It occupies a remarkable diversity of environments across its range: rocky hillsides and talus slopes in the Appalachian Mountains, deciduous forest, mixed woodland, overgrown fields, suburban edges, and even the outskirts of urban areas where suitable rocky or wooded cover exists. Copperheads show a notable preference for rocky terrain and areas with abundant ground-level cover, fallen logs, rock piles, leaf litter, and dense undergrowth. They are not associated with water in the way the cottonmouth is, though they will occasionally be found near streams and other water sources. The copperhead's ecological flexibility has made it the most frequently encountered venomous snake in the eastern United States. It is found across a wider range than any other venomous snake in the region, and its tolerance of suburban and even semi-urban environments means that human snake encounters occur with considerable frequency even in populated areas. In some suburban areas of Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina, copperheads are regularly found in gardens, parks, and residential areas. The cottonmouth, by contrast, is one of the most consistently aquatic snakes in North America. It shows a profound and largely consistent association with water throughout its range. Swamps, marshes, drainage ditches, river floodplains, lake margins, cypress swamps, and any other permanent or semi-permanent water body within its southeastern range. The cottonmouth is rarely found far from water, and this habitat preference is one of the most reliable practical guides to identification. If you encounter a large, robustly built pit viper in or immediately adjacent to an aquatic habitat in the southeastern United States, the probability of it being a cottonmouth is very high. The cottonmouth swims readily and well. It is regularly observed swimming across water bodies, resting on submerged branches or logs at the water's edge, and hunting aquatic prey. This aquatic association also contributes to a frequent case of mistaken identity. Many non-venomous water snakes of the genus Nerodea share the cottonmouth's aquatic habitat and can resemble juvenile or patterned cottonmouths to inexperienced observers. This misidentification unfortunately results in large numbers of harmless water snakes being killed each year by people who mistake them for cottonmouths. The venoms of the copperhead and the cottonmouth are both hemotoxic. They primarily cause tissue damage, disruption of blood clotting, and local destruction of cells and blood vessels at and around the bite site. Both are pit viper venoms typical of the Achistrodon genus, but they differ considerably in potency and in the typical severity of envenomation. The copperhead's venom is the least potent of any venomous snake species native to the United States. This is not a statement that should inspire carelessness. Copperhead bites are genuinely painful, can cause significant tissue damage and swelling, and require medical attention. However, the combination of the copperhead's relatively modest venom yield per bite and the comparatively lower toxicity of its venom means that copperhead bites, while responsible for the largest number of venomous snake bites in the United States, approximately 2,900 bites per year, result in remarkably few fatalities. Deaths from copperhead bites are exceptionally rare in healthy adults with access to modern medical care, and many bites are dry bites, strikes in which little or no venom is injected, used primarily as a warning. The cottonmouth's venom is significantly more potent than the copperhead's. It is a powerful cytotoxic venom that causes extensive local tissue destruction. In severe cases, the tissue damage around a cottonmouth bite can be dramatic and require prolonged medical treatment. The cottonmouth also delivers a larger volume of venom per bite than the copperhead, reflecting its larger body size and correspondingly larger venom glands. While cottonmouth bites are not as frequently fatal as bites from some other venomous snakes, they are considerably more medically serious than copperhead bites on average, and antivenom treatment is more frequently required. One important point about cottonmouth venom that deserves specific mention is its ability to cause anticoagulation, disrupting the blood's ability to clot, in addition to the local cytotoxic effects. This combination of local tissue destruction and systemic effects on blood clotting makes cottonmouth envenomation a more complex medical situation than a typical copperhead bite. The behavioral differences between copperheads and cottonmouths are significant, practically important, and frequently misrepresented in popular culture. The copperhead is a cryptic, secretive snake that relies heavily on its excellent camouflage for defense. When disturbed, a copperhead's first response is almost always to freeze, relying on its hourglass pattern to render it near invisible against a background of dead leaves and dappled light. This camouflage is so effective that many copperhead bites result from people accidentally stepping on or placing a hand near a snake they simply did not see. When the freeze strategy fails and the snake feels directly threatened, it may vibrate its tail rapidly against leaf litter, producing a rattling sound that mimics a rattlesnake, and will bite if pressed. However, copperheads are generally not aggressive snakes and unprovoked bites are rare. The cottonmouth has a very different reputation, and in this case the reputation is at least partially deserved, though significantly exaggerated in popular culture. Cottonmouths are considerably more likely to hold their ground when approached than copperheads are, and less likely to flee quietly. The open mouth gaping display is a genuine defensive warning performed when the snake feels threatened, not an invitation to attack. However, the popular image of cottonmouths actively chasing and pursuing humans is a myth. Cottonmouths will defend themselves vigorously if directly handled or cornered, but they do not pursue people. The cottonmouth's greater tendency to stand its ground rather than flee makes encounters with it feel more confrontational than encounters with copperheads, even though the underlying intention to warn off a threat and avoid being harmed is identical. Both the copperhead and the cottonmouth occupy important ecological roles in their respective ecosystems, roles that are frequently overlooked in discussions dominated by the danger these animals pose to humans. Copperheads are important predators of rodents, particularly in suburban and agricultural landscapes where rodent populations can become problematic. A single copperhead may consume dozens of mice, voles, and other small rodents per year, providing free, highly effective rodent control in environments where human-wildlife conflict over agriculture and food storage creates constant pressure. They are also prey themselves for birds of prey including red-tailed hawks and great horned owls, for king snakes and racers that are immune to pit viper venom, and for other predators. Cottonmouths play a similarly important role in aquatic ecosystems. They are key predators of fish, frogs, salamanders, and other aquatic and semi-aquatic prey, and their presence in wetland ecosystems helps regulate populations of these species. They are also prey for large wading birds, alligators, and larger snakes. Both species suffer from deliberate persecution by humans who kill venomous snakes on sight, a practice that, while understandable given genuine safety concerns, contributes to the decline of ecologically important predator species and does not actually reduce snakebite risk in the way that awareness and avoidance behavior does. The overwhelming majority of snakebites from both species occur when people attempt to handle, kill, or otherwise directly interact with the snake. Simply leaving these animals alone and giving them space to move away eliminates the vast majority of bite risk. So, what is the real difference between a copperhead and a cottonmouth? At the most immediately visible level, the copperhead's hourglass pattern versus the cottonmouth's more variable and often uniformly dark coloration, and the cottonmouth's distinctive white mouth display that gives it both its common name and its most reliable field identification feature. At the ecological level, the copperhead is a habitat generalist found across a wide range of environments throughout the eastern United States, while the cottonmouth is a consistent aquatic specialist of the southeastern wetlands. At the medical level, the cottonmouth's bite is significantly more dangerous than the copperhead's. Both cause real harm and require medical attention, but the cottonmouth's greater venom potency, larger venom yield, and more complex envenomation syndrome make it the more medically serious of the two. And at the behavioral level, the copperhead relies on camouflage and concealment, while the cottonmouth is more likely to stand its ground and display. Differences in strategy that reflect their different ecologies and their different evolutionary paths to survival in the complex landscapes of the American South and East. Both snakes are native to North America. Both are part of ecosystems that depend on their presence, and both are far more interested in being left alone than in any interaction with the humans who share their territory. Thank you for watching.